Welcome in to the Players Perspective Uncensored podcast. Your boy Leo Ben, and got a wonderful guest in the building today, man. Got my brother Jerry Smith, number 34 in the flesh, man. The one that kind of picked up when I left off. He took the torch and ran with it, man, and held it down. Proud of you, man. Welcome to the podcast, bro.
Yeah, appreciate you having me.
Yeah,
Appreciate
man.
you.
Okay, now the first question we always ask our guests on the podcast, man, is like, are you a bourbon guy? If so, what's your go-to? What you drinking on?
Honestly, no, I mean, I'm not really big on bourbon. You know
Not
what
a
I
big
mean?
bourbon. That's cool.
Not a
That's
big
cool.
bourbon
That's
guy,
cool.
but yeah, I mean,
We had to get you going, man. We have to get you some trials, man. See what you like, what you don't like, man.
absolutely, absolutely.
But anyway, man, let's jump into like the basketball career side of things, man. So coming up in Wisconsin, was it somebody that you idolized growing up, that you want to pattern your game after? Who was somebody that Jerry Smith looked up to when he was coming up playing basketball?
Um, there was a lot of guys in Milwaukee. I mean, it was a lot of guards. I really liked this guy, Lavelle Felton. Was a terrific guard back in the day in Milwaukee. I really liked his game.
Who was
Um,
that? You got to speak up for me.
Lavelle Felton.
Dale Felton, okay.
So yeah, he was a pro. He actually he passed a few years back, but just a terrific dude. Really looked up to him. He was kind of like a mentor when I was a younger guy. And then honestly, being around the game a lot was my pops. He was coaching, and he used to always take different players on these trips with like colleges and college visits and stuff. And that's kind of how I really fell in love with the game, and just going on them trips and seeing players play at a young age.
Got you. So when you were coming up, man, through the AAU ranks, middle school, high school, when did it click for you? But like, man, I might actually do something with this basketball, man. Like I could, go play at the high level. When did it click for you?
Probably like eighth grade. Seventh grade is when it started to like I started to really get a passion for it. But
Hmm.
eighth grade, I kind of realized like I might be pretty solid at it. Our AAU team ended up taking like second in the country. Down in nationals in Orlando. I got back. I started getting recruited. I started getting college letters back then, and that's when it really kind of just took off, the recruiting and everything. Probably like eighth grade.
So your senior year, you were player of the year, Wisconsin. Following the tracks, likes of guys like Reese Gaines, who was another Ville legend, man, coming out of Wisconsin.
Yeah.
How did your recruiting process go? Because typically, big time recruits out of Wisconsin, it's hard to get away from Wisconsin, man. So, what were some schools that were recruiting you, and what ultimately made you choose the Ville?
Well, I was really high on Wisconsin. I was right there neck and neck with them, Wake Forest and Louisville, and then Marquette, obviously, who we played against.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, they were recruiting me. Tom Crean he offered me a scholarship like right out of eighth grade. But my sophomore year, they had a ton of guards. They got loaded with guards. So it was just that really wasn't an option for me to go in their heavy and guard rotation like that. So Marquette was off the table. And ultimately, what it came down to was just I love the way that Rick, his style of play. I really like that up and down tempo. You guys were coming off of Final Four. I got to watch you guys run, that year, and it just looked like something I really wanted to be a part of.
Now, once you decided to come to Louisville, you wanted to come play for Coach. What was the biggest adjustment once you got there for you?
Um, Probably just that pace. You always hear about it and you see it, but actually being in it and pressing like that is different. You know what I'm saying? And you can't prepare for that. I don't care what you do in your off season or anything. Until you in that fire and really like doing that every day, you can't prepare for that. So getting into it, just getting thrown into that mix, it was a challenge, but you keep growing with it. So
Yeah, I always tell people, man, like it took me 3 weeks. When I was coming in, coach, it was coach initiation year, so he was coming in and
setting the
really
tone.
he was trying to set the tone. So that first year was a lot different than my following 3 years. And
Right.
so, man, when I first got there, before I reported to campus, I was doing some stuff with the Kentucky Indiana All Stars. And Vince Taylor, the coach, would come. He said, "Man, start running now." He said, you can't run enough." He said, "Even when you think you're in your best shape, go run some more."
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, I'm in pretty good shape, man. Jerry, man, I probably took me about 3 weeks just to get through a summer routine. I ain't even got to practice yet. We talking about just a summer treadmill routine. It took me about 3 weeks just to be able to complete one. And then my first individual, man, it probably took me about 10 minutes. I drank too much Gatorade, threw up all the Gatorade and
Yeah,
it took me about 10 minutes, man. But it was tough, man. Like you said, you hear about it, but until you're physically in it, man, you just don't know the capacity of that, how he pushes you, man. But that's what makes him great too.
absolutely,
So
absolutely.
you came in, you were 4-year starter, man. You started off the rip. You guys had a great team. Great team. You came in with likes of you, Edgar Sosa, BJ. BJ was already there. E5, Earl Clark. You guys had a really good group. What was the mindset for you guys coming in into the Ville?
Honestly, just wanted to compete, man. We wanted to come in, and although we were coming in, we were the second recruiting class in the country. We knew it's not going to be easy. You know what I'm saying? We're going to be playing in the Big East. Every single game is going to be a battle, and we just wanted to compete. Put our names out there. That's kind of our approach to it.
Now, after I think it was after 1 year, there was speculation about you wanting to transfer or leave to go back home to Wisconsin. What was that about? Was there some truth to that, or what was that whole spiel about?
Actually, yeah. So only people. It never really got out publicly, but only people like yourself and other guys around the program actually knew what was going on. That situation was actually just my relationship with Bruce Pearl. That's really what that came down to. I was going to transfer out and go to Tennessee.
Okay.
I had played AAU ball with his son. I had a great relationship with him. Been around their family, all throughout high school, my whole career of high school. So he was coaching at UWM, which was a mid major, and I always told myself if BP got an opportunity to play, in a bigger major conference, that I was going to, try my best to go and play for him. And after my freshman year, I came home. I told my parents, I'm like, I think I want to go play for Bruce. And they were like, what? Like, what do you mean? Like, I'm not going to put no pressure on you. It's your decision ultimately. But what do you mean? Like, you had a very good freshman year.
Right.
What are you thinking? And I'm just like, I mean, this is kind of how I'm feeling. And they were like, well, we're not going to persuade you. This is going to be solely your decision. And they kind of put that on me. And they were like, but if you're going to do that, you got to go about it the right way. Before you go and get to telling people what you're doing, you got to call a coach. You got to call and tell them, this is what it is. And I called Rick and said, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. I had spoke to Bruce, told him I'm going to come. And ultimately, Rick said, I can't let that happen. That's what it came down to. Straight up, he was. I got home on like a Friday, and I want to say either Saturday evening or Sunday morning. He was in Milwaukee, and he came and sat down. He had lunch or breakfast with us, and we spoke. And he was just like, next year we're gonna be, possibly a Final Four team. You know what I mean? We have guys coming in that's more guys, and we're gonna be more experienced. So I don't think that I can't let that happen right now. We need you here. You're gonna be our starting two. It's just no way. I understand the relationship you have and that whole dynamic, but we've built something already with 1 year. That second year it could just take off and we can be in the Final Four.
Got you. Now I had heard that you wanted to transfer because you wanted to play the point guard and that you didn't want to play the two. And so that's why I asked. I had never asked you about that, but it was speculation that you wanted to play more the point guard and that you didn't want to play off the ball, that you wanted to play the two guard. So that's why.
No, that wasn't it was more relationship based more than anything.
Got you.
Yeah.
So from '07 to '09, man, Louisville, we always refer to like our 80s teams, right? Like, the national championship teams through 86, they were always in the Final Four national championship games, and they had talent like Griff, the McCray brothers, Wally Brown, Lancaster Gordon, Derek Smith. Like, they had all of this talent. And so when I look at you guys from '07 to '09, yourself, Sos, McGee, Samardo, Earl Clark, Terrence Williams, uh,
PK,
Terrence Jennings. Who am I leaving out?
PK, PK.
Preston Knowles. Yeah, I mean,
Yep.
like the talent on that team. I always tell people, like that was probably in Coach Pitino's era. That was like his most talented team by far, like
Yeah.
from top to bottom, like that was it. So when you look back, man, is it something you could put your finger on or that you could pinpoint and say like, man, that probably held us back from like not really doing what we were supposed to do?
Honestly, I don't. I can't. Our sophomore year, we end up losing to Carolina, and I think it really just came down to matchups. I really do because we were like my sophomore and junior year, we were beating teams up. Like, you know, we get a team on a bad night. If they not prepared, we can get you by 35, 40, like for real. And I really just think it came down to matchups. You know, Ty Lawson was a huge problem for us on that press. We couldn't really
Mhm.
press him. And then that second year, we ended up losing to Michigan State.
State.
And I think Goran Sutan, just how skilled and talented he was. Draymond Green didn't even kill us. He didn't do nothing that game for real. But
Right.
Goran Sutan just
Yeah.
killed us, man.
Mid range bucket.
Oh, he killed us. We had no answer for him. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
So he
right.
found all the gaps in our zone and our pressure, and that's really what it just came down to matchups. I really believe that if we caught any other matchups, I think we could have went all the way that year.
And because the thing about it, I was more so concerned about Arizona that year than Michigan State
Yep.
because the
They
game
they
before we
got three
played
phones.
Arizona, man, beat them by like 35. I said, oh, yeah, we in there. We got Michigan State. I said, oh, we definitely getting ready to get them. And
Yeah,
so,
yep.
but again, man, like you said, college basketball, you never know. It's all about matchups sometimes. And, you know, one team gets hot and you just have an off night, man, and that's all it takes. And that's what makes the tournament great at the same time.
Mm, absolutely.
That's
Yeah.
what makes it great, man. So at the end of your career, man, when you look back, what were some of the key takeaways that you took from playing for Coach Pitino?
Honestly, man, just the approach. I think that's really what enabled me to play, as long as I have, is just that mindset and approach to the game. The way you gotta work, the way you gotta approach it, and then pay attention to detail. Um, that's really the biggest thing I would say. Just that mental aspect.
Gotcha. And so now, like, you look at the program now, Kenny's taking over. Kenny's been here for a year and a half now. Obviously, um, we haven't been able to compete and build and win to the capacity of the likes of when you and I were playing. But what do you think about the state of the program now and what Kenny's trying to do with staff, Nolan, Coach Manning?
Mhm.
What do you think about now? The state of the Ville.
I think it's tough. It is tough, but you need moments like this, I think, to see who's really, you know what I'm saying, who your real guys are. At the end of the day, I got a lot of disappointment in people around because I've heard so many different things that I just don't agree with. And when times are tough, that's when you really find out who your people are. You know what I'm saying? And that's my take on it. I'm ride or die. I wear my Louisville stuff today, proud, just as proud when I'm in the gym, whether I'm working out or what I'm doing.
Sure.
I'm wearing my stuff just as proud today as the 2013 national championship team when I'm in Italy somewhere wearing my hoodie all week because we don't won the natty.
Right.
Um, I'm gonna rep it the same way. And yeah, I feel like the state of it now is it needs the fans and the people around to support more. Some people have kind of bagged off in a sense and kind of taken distance on it when in actuality, those guys need you more right now. They need the fans even more than ever. It's easy to show up and cheer and when we Final Four and the Sweet 16 every year, but right now they guys got to show up and cheer those guys on, man. They just got a huge win down in Miami. They working their butts off every day. Coaches is doing working around the clock. I think they just need a little bit more support and stick with them.
It is. It's tough, man. And me now working for the university, this I don't represent the university in any shape, form, or fashion. With my opinion, this is strictly my opinion. Just speaking on myself for myself, but I agree, man. It's tough. Um, I mean, just when you're so used to seeing the Ville dominate from
Yeah.
the state of college basketball, right? Like just being able to dominate on a given night, being able to beat anybody. And so now, we just it's tough. We're in a recovery mode, we're in a rebuild mode. I think Kenny's doing, the job that he can. His staff, he has an excellent staff. But it just takes time, man. It just takes time. You see spurts, you see glimpses of what it could be. I think we just got to find some sort of consistency to where we can put it together. And I agree with you, man. It's the fans definitely need, to support and surround and rally around the guys, man. These guys had a great hard fought win. I was so proud of these guys, man, that, they're shorthanded, battling injuries, a lot of, negativity around things. And so these guys banded together, got a tough road win, man. And so proud of these guys, man. So, but just got to keep building and just kind of keep moving forward, man. Just keep getting better. That's the main thing, man. Just keep better, keep getting better, keep getting better, keep getting players, and just getting back. What they say, the chopping wood mentality, man. Just keep chopping at it. Just keep chopping at it.
Absolutely.
So once you graduated, man, you went on a grind.
Yeah.
Did the G League, did some stints with the Nets, few runs in the NBA. Talk about your pro career, man, and how that was for you.
When I left the Ville, I really had to I had a decision to make. It was either I tried to go the coaching route or playing. And ultimately I chose to play because I mean I didn't have a draft, I wasn't on draft boards. I didn't have that type of college career. It's just the reality of what it was. So I did have to go on the grind and I went to the G League, put in those hours, man. It was tough. It was really tough, but I was able to get a shot. I switched over to actually playing the point, then, and yeah, I was able to get a shot, man. Get back and get in the league.
So what was your experience like, man, when you got your shot to play with the Nets? What was that like for you?
Um, Honestly, it was amazing. Just to be around guys like Darren Williams. Learning from him, speaking with Avery Johnson. He's the one that he said he handpicked me himself because he saw my grind and what my story was, and he was like, I wanted to give you that shot. Avery Johnson, personally said it himself, and I'll never forget it. Like yesterday, my first game was in Orlando against E5. Actually, he was playing against Orlando, and it's like a dream come true, man. Just getting out there, getting in the mix, playing against those guys. It was nothing like it.
I hear you, man. I never forget, man. I was playing in Haifa, Israel, and we had a preseason game against the Nets. And so I was playing against T Will. T Will was with the Nets, man. And so I'm out there matched up with T Will, man. It was pretty cool to see the young guys that, kind of carried the torch when I left out, man. See those guys at a successful level, man. And he went out there and played well. And the Lopez brothers killed us, man. But one thing I remember, man, just the size of the big guys. Like they had Jordan Farmar. Like from a guard standpoint, like we were solid. Like we had good
Yeah.
guards.
Oh yeah.
But from a big standpoint, man, like it was a different speed for the bigs. Like I'd never really seen bigs running the floor.
Yeah.
And, Chris Humphreys, the Lopez brother, man, like it was big time. Like I'm sprinting back, but like the bigs is up there sprinting with me. So it was cool, man. It was cool. They ended up beating us, but we played them tough. But it was a good game. It was one of my proud moments to be able to say I played in the NBA game, man, because I took the overseas route from the jump. I thought about maybe trying to do the G League, but just once you see that overseas contract and you see what the G League was offering, it's like, nah, I'm good, man. I'm
People
good.
realize,
Even though if the G League was offering back then what they offer now, I definitely would have went that route. But like just back then, it was a grind. I'm like, nah, I'm gonna go over here, man.
you literally, people don't realize, man, you literally are playing for an opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
What they paying you is just this is an opportunity, and that's the way I kind of went into it. It was just like I'm not here for no money. I'm here to try to get a shot and then build a career. After that.
What was your favorite place that you played overseas? Now, me and you had a small stint where we played together in Israel for a
Yeah.
minute, but where was your favorite place to play?
Um, Probably Italy or Greece. But as far as living, I love my time in Italy. You know, I was in Cantu, so I was only about 25 minutes outside of Milan.
Mm-hmm.
Just really nice living. Food was great. And then Greece, I was pretty comfortable in Greece as well. Athens, just a great city.
So when you compare the game in the NBA to the game in Europe,
Yeah.
what would you say they were similar and what would you say they was different?
Um, the NBA was just the spacing was so different. You know what I'm saying? It's way more one-on-one base. You got a little bit more room. Guys are they're not in the paint, so it's a little bit easier to beat guys and create opportunities. Opposed to Europe, it's just everything's packed. The defenses are a little bit more tough. You know what I'm saying? You're making a play for the next play. It's not nowhere near as much one-on-one base as it is team. You know what I'm saying? In Europe, that's kind of how my take on it.
Nice. Last question, man. Who's the toughest person you ever had to guard? I had to play against.
The toughest,
Toughest.
Kyrie.
Toughest cover for you. And who was the toughest person defending you? And who was the toughest person you had to defend?
I would say Garden, Kyrie. It's too many moves. Can't
That's a good
you on
answer.
that
That's a good answer.
you on that island for real. And this was young Kyrie, so he was still trying to make a point. So it was like you can't
Move.
guard, literally can't guard him. And then as far as guarding me, I would probably say I don't know specifically on defensive end. I played against some guy. Oh, you know what? Actually, I do. Um, it was a guard in Greece. He was specifically a defender. I can't think of his name right now. He played for Ike for maybe 3 4 years, and then he ended up playing for Panathinaikos for a little bit. I can't remember his name, but he was just a tremendous defender. About 6'8", athletic. I can't think of his name right now.
Man, I got 2 years of a young, fresh Dwayne Wade at Marquette.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that was, I mean, like I knew he was quick. I mean, just watching the preparation and the scout work of him, I'm like, man, who is this? You see him going on the baseline, up and on the dunk. I'm like, man, I don't even. Usually, when you play against somebody that's big
yeah.
time, you kind of know heading into the game. I'm like, no, I don't know, dude. I watched all McDonald's All American games every year. I'm like, nah, I ain't
Where he
never
come
heard the
from?
dude. Man, listen,
Yeah.
G. When I guard people with an arm's length, right? So I can always swipe at the ball. I doubled my arm length, still couldn't keep him in front of me, dog.
Too
I'm
quick.
talking about
Yeah.
you talking about cat quick, man.
Yeah.
Cat quick and like strong, athletic, man. He's just tough guard, man. Tough
Oh,
guard. And shoot. Later on in the NBA, when he went on to be one of the top all-time great players of the NBA, you understood why. Like, yeah, that's why I couldn't guard him.
they,
G, man, appreciate you coming on the podcast, man. Appreciate you, brother, man. Looking forward to you coming down to the Ville. We're gonna connect soon, man. But always a
look,
pleasure to have you on, bro.
appreciate you having me.
Yes,
Much
sir.